the March gathering of the Culver Redevelopment Commission to order. Let's start with the roll call, please.
Monroe here. All mentally, physically. Miss Ricciardi.
Here.
Mentally, I'm still at home. I'm here. Mr. Oosterbon.
Here.
And Miss Schuman and Miss James are absent.
Spring break.
Spring break.
Okay, I'm going to dispense with the normal language about the meeting is being recorded and your participation is tantamount the acceptance of appearing on our YouTube channel, and we'll go right to the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brings back my grade school days.
Don't remember.
Should be milk.
A little carton.
Yeah, it'd be nice if it still cost 3 cents.
Yeah.
Okay, did everybody get I'm sorry, approval of the minutes? Did everybody get a copy of Sarah's?
It was a while ago. I did it
Yes,
really early.
it was
and I-
right after the meeting.
It's like, give me
I've
an hour,
slept since then,
But
but I make a motion to approve them.
Please do.
Second.
Right, all in favor of approving the minutes from our February 22nd, 2024 meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Yeah, I read today that minute production within 14 days of the meeting is the best practice.
That was my
Never knew there
intention.
was
It's
a
only
best
take-
practice standard for the production of minutes.
take me
Sean produces them within hours of the meeting, so I know that
Yeah,
from
I've seen
working
that
with them on Crossroads, but
Keep up with Sean.
that's a very high bar.
Action items are done by the end of the day too.
Financial report is next on the agenda, and so we have a revamped format, simplified format. Thank you, Karen, very much for that.
Dashboard, just so they can keep sections out. Historical data that posts, but yes, this is.
Yeah, the marrying this with what we're committed to between now and year end is the key, I think. All right, terrific. So has everybody had an opportunity to take a look at the rather uneventful, although we did have a bond payment in the last month, but other than that, not too much going on. Any questions for Karen? Any discussion around the financials? Then I'll entertain a motion to approve the financials as of February 29th.
I'll make a motion to approve the financial report.
I'll second it.
Right, we have a motion to approve the financials and the second, all in favor of approving the financials that Karen presented dated February 29th, 2024. Please signify by saying aye.
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 That's unanimous as well. Thank you, Karen. Once again. Smart. Okay, so going to old business, let's start with the Dunes update. Kevin, anything for us that we don't already know?
I'm not sure if you're privy to the planning commission meeting that recently occurred. What we're looking at is Burke Richardson came before the planning commission and asked to table till April's meeting. One of the issues, he was able to resolve some of the town's requests concerning the sanitation as well as the water. Where we're still working and with the spirit of cooperation, as a matter of fact, is on that western detention area, in which we want to make sure, and we're hypersensitive about the levels of that detention area, as if we do have a 100-year storm and the calculations and the intensity is right, we could see overflow into the north wetlands. There's no way of relieving those north wetlands. They would probably seek a path further north, raising those levels to a level where the town's built-in high water relief just near the water plant it would be to the west and to the south side of that corner, would relieve those wetlands, so the town wouldn't obviously experience that flooding. But those wetlands would stay, and once that high water relief, the water retreats from that water would have nowhere to go. That detention area would stay full. We're wanting to see the rate of relief to that detention area. It should be, if I understand Scott Seipel from Midwestern, that should be able to go back down to its occurring level in 2 hours. So we're looking for infiltration rates, and Scott and the engineers, Chris with Culver Equities, are working those numbers out. And they want to make sure they have those numbers sound before they present, before the planning. I really do appreciate that. So we're there on the dunes. We're still dealing with some interesting questions. The capacity question has resurrected itself in terms of wastewater. I think people have missed a section of the dialogue that has occurred over winter, but we'll resume those. And the second thing that we're looking at, that 17 axis, still reverberating, rightfully so, maybe, but we're staying on top of things.
Are those capacity questions coming from plan commission members or their audience?
No, I think they're coming from the town. I think there's a lot of misinformation. The only reason I say it's misinformation is because oftentimes people frame these.
Oh, so sorry.
They frame their criticisms in generalization. There's no data, there's no numbers, statistics, there's no way of understanding their calculations, right? They're not using the IDEM numbers that Culver Equities did based on 300 unit residency all at once with a swimming pool. Everything was factored in.
They're not looking at our engineers.
Absolutely not. They're also not, they're not looking at what we have reported for the last 4 years in terms of wastewater capacity to IDEM. We're running at anywhere between 45 and 50, let's say 58% capacity in July. We have a fluctuation because of the nature of it, but we're housing the academy. Ever since the academy fixed their leakage problems, we saw a massive drop in our capacity usage. Now I said this last town council meeting, and I'll keep echoing, it would be irresponsible not to recapture that capacity. If we're going to be we want to be fair and have development called. We need to make that available. We can't allow that to go, but recapturing it is coming from many of the funds that we're generating from that. And we're going to have those capabilities, and that's why we brought Midwestern study in for the wastewater.
Unfortunately, you have people who spread rumors like, oh, we don't have the infrastructure, we don't have the capacity, and rumor turns into perception, into reality.
I think it does. It's a narrative that allows them to frame their disagreement with it. And there's room for that disagreement, right? But I also need, if there is contradicting data, I would love to see it. I need to be informed and consider it, but it hasn't produced itself.
Okay. So the question's back, but the answer hasn't changed.
The answer hasn't changed.
Okay, good.
We're confident in the answer.
Yep.
And confident that's been vetted, and that's the best we can do. And we'll keep monitoring,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When your engineers are providing the data and IDEM provides the data, it's kind of hard to make a
Right.
case.
There's a standardized way.
So I had a conversation with a neighbor around the 17 axis the other day, and I mentioned this to Kevin. It was an interesting conversation because it occurred to me as he talked to me about it that he just thought that could just happen for free. And I said,
It's
what?
don't cost anything, an easement plan.
I said, so how much do you think the town should pay the developer who doesn't want to do this? So to get our way, it's going to cost us something. How much do you think it's worth? And I think that's a fair question, because when you ask that question, it causes people to reflect on why they're asking for that.
And how much do you want to pay to acquire the land to the west that the developer doesn't own? And then how much are you willing to pay for a road?
And don't
Because
forget,
that's taxpayer funds.
you also have NDOT involved in that because you're connecting to 17. That's the logistical. That's a twist.
Yeah.
And
And that's not gonna pay for
Yeah,
it.
you're doing road
Unless you're
cuts on
on
the state highway.
Exactly right. And there's permitting, and that's a whole
I
separate.
mean, you have to get their approval
That's
to
exactly
even
right.
have an exit onto 17.
Is there something in the plans that if down the road the town chose to do that, is there in the actual plans themselves, like
We've had
access that can be left open.
Sure. We've had conversations with the developer, and what we've done is within phase 1 and 2, there will be a slight pause, not much, according to the developer. Phase 3 and 4 will be going in. We'll have some time to monitor traffic as it's online. We'll realize if there's an issue and we can engineer solutions towards that. And there may be other engineering solutions that does not require us to go to 17. But, and it's been my mantra the whole time, probabilities are fantastic, but when you're dealing with engineering and cost, you want to make sure you're not over engineering or under engineering. I need real-time data. And MACOG has provided me with some interesting models and targeted areas that I need to be monitoring. What it cannot do with 100% confidence is provide me necessary solutions to what's going to be our traffic or our infrastructure needs, simply because they can't answer one massive variable. Who's living there, and are they full-time, part-time, and are they going to be here in July only? And so there's a lot of.
And do they already work here and already driving around? you know?
Exactly. And so we need that online.
And you
And
can
monitor
see
it.
why with that much of a development, that the developer doesn't want semis and boats coming through a random neighborhood like that.
Yeah, can't be
You
a
know?
shortcut to a state highway.
Yeah,
And
and
be
it is
attractive.
interesting to see a truck come in on the north end of town, then the trucks coming from the west side, trying to get to downtown Culver to deliver restaurant food, et cetera. I mean, a truck has to move through the town slowly. So coming off of 17, they're more likely to hit a county road than a neighborhood. But at the same, so then do you sort of expect, well, maybe we won't have that kind of traffic come through a neighborhood, but we're opening the neighborhood to that if we open it
Yeah.
to connecting there.
I think there's so much of this, and people don't align their arguments together. This is only going to be summer rentals and summer crowd, vacation crowd. That's the only people that are going to live out there. But yet we're going to have massive traffic problems.
Yeah.
And by the way, the summer crowd always uses cars, not golf carts, bicycles, or running or path taking. And what it represents is insecurity about change. And this becomes the vehicle to express that. And we have to make room for that, but there has to be a limit to that. And we can't spend money based on that. It's reactionary.
Well, if we made all our decisions based on fear of change, we would never
Sure.
be like a lot of.
But we have to
communities.
respect it, monitor it, and make changes. And we have the information to make those changes. So we'll keep monitoring it and respecting those securities maybe, or real points. I don't know.
That's a good point, that there's an inflection between the phases there that'll give us an opportunity to take the pulse.
I do love asking that question though, like, where are you going? Tax or
Yeah. What do
your
you-
funds for a road?
What do you think it's worth? I mean,
Yeah, and do you even understand the process to make that happen?
yeah, I mean, I know he's not gonna use it. Right? He's
Yeah.
not gonna drive to the dunes to
I
get
mean,
to
the people-
17.
The people who, my opinion, the areas we really need to monitor are Jefferson and Maine. We need to look at Ohio and Mill. But Maine, Ohio. But these are areas that MACOG has kind of made them aware. And so they're trying their best to give me projections. Ohio's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
But we'll keep monitoring.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the key.
And it's interesting when we did, when Bob wanted to put in a stop sign over at Sand Hill, because it was awkward with the cars coming out of the paddocks and then out of Sand Hill. There's a little congestion in the early morning and when school and business starts. So Mancock came out and kind of did a study of that. It was like at the highest traffic in an hour was like 11 cars or something. And Bob and I were kind of like, 11 cars in an hour is about the max peak in an area of town, typically probably. Now there's some areas like when you're trying to leave parking shop, you know,
You may have to wait. 20 seconds.
yeah, I mean, the same thing with the bank up there because traffic coming in and out of town on the north end is, it's a little more traffic, but like we actually complain about that as traffic. And then when I'm in Indianapolis and I'm waiting like 8 minutes to get out of our condo road onto Lafayette, I'm like, now that's traffic.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
14 cars every 20
Or
seconds.
when you pull up to a stoplight and you have to wait for it to change 3 times before you get to,
Yeah.
before you're near the front.
Respected.
All right, so we do have an easement agreement with the Howard property. Do you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, Mike, yeah, definitely. We recently negotiated with Tim Howard at the end of South Main Street to acquire a small easement, but a necessary one that is going to allow us to bring our utilities within range of the executive storage that is being built by Beachview Properties around the corner of West Shore and Tamarack, that kind of curve right there. We're going to bring that down to Tim's property, but not cross the road. So we're going to terminate there, and the developer has to come across to us. Tim graciously granted us easement for the amount of $2,500 that we will be issuing a check for. The CRC voted to approve that easement, and today we're just signing the easement agreement, which will be signed and recorded along with the resolution, if I'm correct. Karen, thank you. Sorry for the ums. We will probably issue the check Monday to Tim when he's in town, and we'll have him sign it separately. Jim Clevenger was the drafter of the document, and he allowed for that separate signing within the document.
So I do have an easement agreement here, and I'll entertain a motion to sign this agreement.
How many people need to
We
sign it?
we have the entire CRC.
Motion to approve signing the easement agreement.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to sign the easement agreement on the Howard property. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. Okay, well, I'll pass this around after the meeting and collect your signatures then. That okay? Good, thank you. Approval of claims, we have one. Oh, wait. There are. I'm sorry, Karen, I didn't see this before. Didn't quite get to it. So what we've got is, looks like from the Visitor Center of Bowen Printing and also Streamline Publishing for an ad. That totals $900. Troyer Group, following up on the Stellar projects, looks to be about $3,200. And then the Visitor Center, $64 for radio ad. And then the $2,500 for Tim Howard for the easement. That's our agreements for the month. I'll pass this around. If you take a look at it, I'll entertain a motion to accept that.
I actually saw it online.
No good. Somebody did their homework.
Well, she always sneaks one in.
Yeah, I got the thing from AT&T.
Yeah.
Oh,
I figured that wasn't
I
for,
thought I,
that we
Okay,
don't need
so-
to do anything
so-
with that, right?
AT&T.
Ignore the AT&T.
Ignore
I
it.
attached the wrong-
Okay.
I apologize for that.
I just want to make sure we didn't have to do anything.
The end of the quarter and the third week of the month. Can't imagine our clerk treasurer being busy.
I think they're all still recuperating.
Well,
from
she's-
the Annual reports.
First quarter, right,
Yeah.
end of the
Last
first
month.
quarter, yep.
She, sits around on her hands doing
Yeah.
nothing.
Nothing.
Do I have a motion to
Bored,
approve
right?
claims?
I'll make a motion to approve claims.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second for approval of claims. All in favor of approving claims as just discussed, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all right, we've got unanimous approval of that. We'll sign that as well. Okay. New business is next on the agenda.
I am expecting a facade grant request from 111
Okay,
Main Street,
okay,
but she didn't have time to get it in this time.
all right,
We've been trying to contact each other.
good, good, all
It
right.
looks like they just did some internal improvements there too. And they have,
Yeah.
they had a really funny video come out now that they're reopening after they did some of their renovations.
Oh,
Did you
good.
see it? It
Oh.
is so funny.
Yeah,
It's her her, like, there's a song playing about, I missed you, where were you? And then Jennifer comes in the front door and she's with Mike and she has her dog and she like throws the dog at Mike, like, done with you too. I'm not. It's hysterical. It's on Instagram and probably Facebook too. I think I saw it. It's probably why I was late to this meeting.
All right, great. Any other new business? Yes.
I did put before you a copy of a resolution on electronic. I don't know that that's actually, I would almost ask that, I don't know. if we got it.
No, we have not.
Just a copy. If somebody needs to participate in a meeting electronically, typically, if you're gonna have an electronic meeting, you're required to have a forum, basically, so you have to have at least 50% of your members. You have that forum. Allowing the person to vote and participate in the meeting. So you would consider that if you wanted to put any other stipulations in there as far as having the basic requirements by the state is that you have to attend to at least. I just did a presentation on this last week. Stuff's being confused, but somebody, you would have to, you can't miss more than 2 meetings in a row. And I believe you have to attend at least half of it.
In person, right?
So for you guys, that's, 12 meetings, you have to be at 6, so you can't miss more than 2 months in a row.
I think it was like an exception that you're got this period. and this-
Yeah, seriously, or service, military
Yeah.
service, or some of the other things.
Your mother dies.
So this resolution reflects the requirements of the statute.
That particular is basically state statute.
Okay, so it's not
No,
any more onerous and it's not.
no.
Okay, good.
What you can do as development commission is add, well, we're gonna only allow, since we only meet 12 times a year, we'll allow, if you can
Oh,
You can make it more onerous. You can't
you
make
can't make it
make it
more
less.
permissive.
more permissive.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was the word I was looking for. Yeah.
So you don't have to do it this meeting. I wanted to give you a copy of it so you can consider and make your decision.
Okay.
I just wanted to.
It's probably worth reflecting on for
Mhm.
30 days and we'll take it up and put it on the agenda for next month. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any other new business? Public input. We have someone online. Going once, online, public input. Once. Twice. Member input, starting with you, Jenny, please. Sarah?
None?
Sally?
I already spoke mine.
Marty has one thing, I guess, now that I think about it. It's the public input season for our comprehensive plan. And so I would just like to get it into the minutes that we encourage the local citizenry to go online to the townofculver.org, find the link, culver2040.org.
That's correct. I think so.
We're double checking that.
You can also go to the town's website under the 40 and we'll take you to the website. There's a link there.
Right.
.com. So it's 2040 culver2040.com. And take a look at the agreement or the plan, the comp plan. There's a lot to it. You can pick your favorite spot and just read that, right? If you get to the appendix, you might want to go to the appendix A first, which just simply lists all the goals and all the steps for the goals. And it's a kind of a Cliff Notes version of the comp plan right there. I highly encourage all of us to look through it if we haven't already, and to encourage our fellow citizens to do that as well. It's pretty important.
For those who like paper, there's also a copy at the library.
Oh, Good.
We have a master copy available at town hall that will not leave. We can't be in the business of making individual copies for people,
Okay. All right.
for the record.
Okay. That being it for member input, Karen, anything from you?
One other thing, the TIF report is due April 15th. I did not have time to get it in front of you. So I will present it to Marty, have him look it over before it's submitted, and then provide you all a copy to approve.
Okay. Can we authorize Marty to approve uploading it or something?
No, I'm just gonna have him take a look. I'm gonna have him initial it, and then I'll bring
Okay.
it to you all for basically a format.
So we have it on file essentially.
Basically, an internal control to make sure.
Yeah, you'll be the backstop to the backstop. You're the assistant deputy auxiliary control. So I do have one thing I forgot about. Sarah, do you happen to recall if the minutes recorded that my recall is that the CRC authorized me to sign the engagement letter, updated engagement letter with Baker Tilly?
I don't recall that one.
Okay, so we have an
I
updated.
can look back.
Well, we could do it twice, but
Yeah. The date got to January's maybe?
it actually, the letter of engagement dates back, I think we first talked about it, it's been several months,
Okay.
many months, now that I think about it.
I thought that we had signed that. but
Yeah, you authorized me to sign it, I just haven't done it yet,
Yeah,
and when I
feel like
realized that, I
for
thought, oh, wait a
the
minute, you
discussion
know.
of it
Yeah,
somehow, Maybe.
That's not
payment.
fine.
Okay, and I just want to make sure it's in the minutes. Why don't we'll
Okay.
check the minutes, and if
Okay,
it's
I'll go
not,
back and
I'm
look.
gonna ask you for a reauthorization for that, and I'll walk you through
Okay.
again. If I haven't, if it's not in the minutes, then I'm gonna presume I didn't do it, and I'll walk you through the terms of the
I'll go
the
back and
letter.
look and see.
Okay. Thank you. It's waited this long, it can wait another meeting. Okay, nothing else, then I'm gonna call for a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
We'll adjourn to claims. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. That's unanimous for adjourning the claims. Thank you, everyone.